If you are a person that is looking for some starting tips for BigPicture, an amazing portfolio and project management tool for the Atlassian ecosystem, you came to the right place, because in this video I'm going to record a comprehensive starting guide for everybody that wants to begin their journey with BigPicture, and I will talk a bit about the tool itself and explain some of the basics so that you're not surprised by what you will see over here. But at the same time, I will also go through some basic setup and tell you how to start working with the tool, as well as give you a little bit of an overview of what the tool is actually capable of. Let's begin then. Before we go into the details though, I just want to mention that this video is part of our effort to deliver high quality training and learning materials for the Atlassian ecosystem. And if you want to support this, subscribe to the channel, consider liking the video, and if you want to ask us some questions regarding the tool, or you think something about this video, post a comment underneath this. This definitely helps the video to reach more people. Now, let's talk about BigPicture as promised. So, first and foremost, we're talking about the tool that is, in our opinion, currently the best tool for portfolio/program/project management inside Jira, inside the Atlassian ecosystem. We are working with several of these tools, and I still believe, and I have been saying this for many years already, I still believe that BigPicture is at the very forefront of everything that is happening in this area for the Atlassian or Jira. And that's because with this one tool, you're able to cover so many different areas. So first of all, this tool is connected to Jira, like most of the plugins that you install on top of Jira. That means that you're working on Jira data. You have single source of truth. Whatever you're doing in BigPicture, and this is the BigPicture screen, the home screen, whatever you're doing over here, whatever you see going inside of those boxes over here, whatever you take a look at in terms of progress, in terms of doing the planning first, in terms of who is assigned to what, this is all coming from Jira. This is why it's so powerful, because just imagine that your people that are working on your projects can go to their tasks in Jira, report time, and here as a project manager, program manager, portfolio manager, product owner, team leader, you immediately see the progress, you immediately see the feedback that is coming from people. That is what makes these tools, not just BigPicture, but all of the tools in the Atlassian ecosystem, so convenient and amazing, in my opinion. So it's a plugin to Jira. It works on Jira data. That's something very important. There are some few exceptions from this, but I'm not going to get into the details of this in this video. Now, how do you start? I promised to give you a comprehensive guide. So to start, you need to have the possibility to install Atlassian applications, right? I'm on the cloud version right now. So if you're on the cloud version and you have admin rights and you're able to install apps, you basically go here to App Management. You are fine with Find New Apps. You search for BigPicture over here. And you will find two versions of this, right? So this is the basic version, BigPicture Project Management and PPM. And this is BigPicture Enterprise. BigPicture Enterprise only works if you have the basic version. So don't buy this one immediately. You need to have this one, and then you can buy this one as an extension kind of the standard BigPicture. So this is what you're interested in. You're basically going here. I already have it installed, so I don't have the button over here that allows me to install it. But if I wouldn't have it installed, there's a button that allows you to start the trial or just start working with the tool. And when it gets installed, it will appear here in this apps dropdown as one of the plugins or one of the apps that are installed in your system. And the next question is, how do you start working with it? Well, there are several ways, and some of these ways are more convenient in some scenarios, and others work definitely better in other scenarios. I'll show you the most basic one, the simplest one, because it is a starting guide. And for this, I'm actually going to create a brand new board for us. I'm going to do this because I want to have a project that is not connected to any box in BigPicture just of yet, okay? So that's why I'm going to create a fresh one. And I'm just going to go over here, hit the sample data, and I'm going to name it for BigPicture Beginner's Guide. I guess this one will work. Create a board, it will take a few seconds, but basically we will get a fresh Jira project with Jira board and a sample set of data that we are going to be able to use inside our BigPicture box. While it's doing its stuff in the background, it's a good moment to mention that BigPicture is built out of boxes. If you think about the main screen of BigPicture, the one that I've been sharing before, it basically has a list of entries, and those entries are boxes. Boxes are kind of like Jira projects, right? So Jira projects are over here, right? And boxes are a bit similar, meaning that they basically help you organize the issues into spaces. The difference, though, is that whereas Jira projects allow you to have only a flat structure, BigPicture boxes can be grouped into hierarchies. So you have boxes inside boxes on top of other boxes, and that's why you can build portfolio, program, project, phases in the project, like program increments, for example, iterations. You can build separate boxes for teams, separate boxes for management views, separate boxes for Agile view, separate boxes for hybrid view, and so on, right? So that is where the power lies. Now, what we are going to do, and because we already have our project ready, you see here that this is the one that I've created for BigPicture Beginner's Guide. What we're going to do is we're going to create a box now for this project so that it captures all the data inside this project in a very simple way. So if you have the BigPicture installed, you will have this, this option available over here on the left. And if you click this, you will be taken to a screen where basically BigPicture will ask you to choose a type of the box that you want to use for this project. And then with just another 1 or 2 clicks, you're able to create a box and populate it with the data that belong to that Jira project. So this is Jira Cloud for you. Sometimes it takes a while, but there it is. And here we have the list of possible boxes that we can use. Now, there are differences between those box types, because that's essentially what they are, in terms of their configuration. So what I'm going to choose over here is I'm just going to choose, I'm tempted to choose Agile, but I'll actually go with classic project. Let's actually go with hybrid. Maybe it will be better for showcasing some of the functionalities later on. So I'm just going to choose the type of the box over here and hit start working. And that is it. So what basically happens now is that BigPicture creates a box for me, populates this box with data that is inside this Jira project that I'm looking at, and that's it. And I can start working with whatever is inside and start exploring BigPicture functionalities with the data coming from that Jira project that we are currently in the context of over here, top left corner. Okay, so you can see that the box is created. It is still pulling in the data. But it's not going to take long because this Jira project is not big. It just has maybe 30 issues inside. And in a moment, I should be able to access the data from the perspective of the module that is a default one in our case. But of course, we can also switch to other modules if we will want to. And I'll give you in a moment a quick overview of what those modules are capable of. I'm just waiting for this box to finish loading the data. And there you go. It's finished. The screen is populating with data, and we get the information about everything that is inside the box. You can see that our Gantt chart is surprisingly empty, but that's because some time ago BigPicture introduced a change that doesn't put our tasks immediately on the timeline. So in the past, they would all of them would be scheduled for today, but with the new update, they are basically not scheduled because they are missing start and end dates. And if we want to put those tasks on the timeline, we actually need to click somewhere over here, and then they appear as Jira issues, and we can make them smaller or bigger depending on how we want them to behave over here. All the main functionalities of the Gantt charts will be available over here. So for example, if you want to connect issues with dependencies, it is possible. If you want to, and you can see that the logic of those dependencies works as well. If you want to put those issues into some kind of a hierarchy, that's possible as well, right? So let me move this one to the top. Let me select those two. Let me indent them so that they have a parent, and you can see that the parent immediately appeared on the timeline as well. It automatically extends for the duration of the children. So all of the functionalities, the standard functionalities that you would expect from the Gantt module are definitely here. On top of this, on top of this, there are some things that I'll just mention. I'm not going to show them, but I'll just mention them as very, very cool. So baselines, if you want to have baselines, some snapshots of your project, this is a very important functionality for you. Scheduling modes, this is one of the setup questions that we always go through with our customers. Which modes will actually work for you? Because it's definitely not a straight answer over here. Grouping tasks, an awesome functionality that allows you to slice the view in a completely different way. Amazing thing. Very good for just purely looking at the data from different angles. Now, sorting this, nothing extraordinary. Period warnings, very important for following the progress of work and also spotting any kind of danger areas in your box, meaning that, for example, something is getting delayed, something is not fitting into the boundaries of time that you've set for it before. So this is very important. Progress, following the progress of work, also something super important. So for example, if I would put this issue over here, somewhere in the past, where it definitely shouldn't be. And oh yeah, sorry. I actually was thinking about overdue tasks, right? Then you can see that these issues that in the past that should have been done are not done are getting highlighted. If it would have been even more in the past, it would have been highlighted in red to let us know that there is something definitely wrong with this issue, right? Progress is important as well, but actually progress can also be shown here as the progress of work. Do I have it? Not in this view, but it can be shown here as a bar as well, so it's not that important. Critical path, if you're working with it, is definitely something worth looking at. Dependencies, I've mentioned that dependencies are here, they work, they maintain the logic, so it's definitely a plus. Another area is filtering, very important because filters are quite useful in many aspects of using BigPicture. Info bar on the right side, this area is very nice for finding some summaries of important areas, like again delayed tasks, like your milestones, for example. I don't have any, but if I would have any milestones, they would all be listed over here. And items belonging to a critical path also could be very useful. On top of this, there are some new functionalities very soon coming to this area that will make this even better. And actually, for me, they will almost complete the picture of following the progress of work, because some things are still missing over here that I would love to have. Then on top, you also have the scenarios. So I'm currently looking at the live scenario that immediately synchronizes with Jira. But if I would want to create an alternative scenario and play around with the data without the consequence of syncing with Jira immediately and just make it manual and let me decide when I want to sync the data with Jira, this is the functionality that would allow me to do that. So that's really awesome. And as you imagine, the Gantt chart is basically for waterfall approaches, cascade approaches. But at the same time, I really want to mention that this module is heavily used even for those companies that consider them to be at least partly agile. Why? Because if you're partly agile, then you're not fully agile. So that means that usually somewhere at the bottom of the company, the agile teams are working on their Scrum boards, on their Kanban boards sometimes, but then the higher you go, and for example, you start aggregating the project data into programs or maybe portfolios, depending on your nomenclature, or maybe both, then you want to have a look like this, because this is what is easier to digest for the higher ups, for C-level employees, for directors, people that are responsible for budgeting this stuff, and they want to have like a big picture of what's going on. And this view is very good for this. So this is why very often we work with the customers that are in hybrid mode. And that's, again, something that BigPicture does very, very well. Talking about agile teams usually will work on a module over here that's called the board. This module is currently not available over here, and I could enable this, but you know what? Actually, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that because we don't have any sub boxes, so we won't have any data in this. Instead, I could switch to a different box, but as you can see, unfortunately, the list of other boxes is not available for me over here. And here is an interesting reason why. An interesting reason why is that currently we are in a simplified view of BigPicture, kind of. Like, I mean, in terms of functionalities, it's all here, but it only works in the context of this project. So if I want to actually look at other boxes, I should go to the main screen of BigPicture, and this is where I will be able to access all the other boxes from. So let me quickly do that and give you a very short overview of what different modules in BigPicture are capable of doing. So I already mentioned the board module, and I'm going to visit it in a moment when it loads. And the board module allows you to do the planning from the perspective, and execution of course as well later on, from the perspective of the Agile approach. So that means that you divide your project into some smaller elements in terms of time. So usually these are sprints. Sometimes you have something in between. So you can have program increments and sprints underneath this. This is one of the cases that I did for our customer that actually has it divided per month, right? So our time boxes are months, and that's also possible. You can do months, quarters, whatever you need over here, and that also works. So there's nothing wrong with it. So I'm just scrolling back in time to show you that this is how the planning could look like. You basically have the backlog on the right hand side over here. Let me close this. And you drag and drop items to proper teams, proper boxes over here, proper time frame, and you will get the summaries. They are currently hidden, but I could turn on the capacity allocation by story points or original estimates. I think I have data in original estimates, right? So you then get the summaries of what is the current workload compared to the capacity of the teams available over here. You can live react to what's going on and make sure that everything is as it should be. So that's the Agile kind of planning. Again, it nicely connects with the waterfall approach. So when things are getting planned over here, I could switch to the Gantt view and take a look at the same thing from the Gantt perspective. Actually, this is probably configured over here. So let me show this to you. This may blow your mind. See, that's it. That's what I'm talking about. All the items that are planned in the respective months over there on the board are automatically getting scheduled over here for the respective months on the Gantt chart. And I can immediately see what's planned where and have a great summary at the top, have a great summary here in the columns in terms of, original estimates, for example, time spent, and so on. So all of it is actually here. Now, moving on, you will also probably be interested in the resources module, maybe depending on how you're working with your resources, how you're planning resources, how you're gathering Jira data. So this is the resources module, a very useful module, but it requires you to do estimates. So if you're doing estimates, be it in story points or in hourly estimates, doesn't matter, but it works a little bit better with hourly estimates in my opinion. Then you will have all the necessary data over here to plan your resources on the individual level, on a team level. Of course, it is possible to get your global views for global resource management as well. Amazing stuff over here. Teams, of course, connected to the resources. Risk is a module for managing your risks. I might not have any data over here, and I don't. But this is basically a view that allows you to aggregate your risks for the certain levels of your portfolio. So you can do it on all the different levels that we've mentioned before in terms of boxes. And then here in the matrix-like view, you can control those risks. If you prefer the table-like view, you can switch to the table. Again, I don't have any data in this box for the risks, but this is what you would be able to do over here. Calendar module, less important. It's a different look at the same kind of data, and it allows you to control this and look at this for more of a calendar-like approach. In this example, again, it doesn't look very astonishing because my tasks are very long over here. They stretch for 1 month or longer. So basically you have 1 task or 2 tasks or 3 tasks stretching over here for a very long duration of time. But the calendar module is something that could help you work and plan and look ahead at what's coming on your plate in the near future. Reports module, of course, very important. I might take a quick stab at it, take a look at what's configured over here. Yeah. The first 5 reports are the default ones. This one has been added by me later during one of the examples. But basically, the reporting in BigPicture is available. It is quite useful and quite powerful. Sometimes it happens that we have to do some additional reporting with our customers and then we reach for other tools. But all in all, it's definitely quite decent. Objectives module allows you to do the objective-based planning. I'm not going to go into the details of this, although I think personally that is really cool and very useful. Scope module is a great place to be when you want to groom your backlog of data, because let me expand it. Basically, you get to look at everything that is available over here. If you select something, you get to check the details here on the right. Inline editing works in most of the places of BigPicture, so you can quickly edit the stuff over here and make sure that everything is up to date, for example, before you go to your planning with the board. So that's it. And if this is interesting, I am 100% sure that you will also be interested in our free course for BigPicture. It's like 3 hours, more or less, something like that. And it will take you for a bit of a longer journey than this video. In this course, I'm explaining a little bit more and better basic stuff regarding BigPicture. So a little bit more about the boxes, a little bit more about how BigPicture is connected to Jira and what to watch out for. I'm also going into some of the basics of the waterfall approach and the Agile approach. So if you want to explore that, the link to the free course will be in the description of this video. Sign up for this. A fair warning, before you get access to this course, you need to schedule a short call with us so that we can learn a little bit about your company and give us a chance to see how you're planning to work with BigPicture and figure out whether there is maybe a room for us somewhere in between so that we can collaborate and help you out. If you're not interested in this, it's still okay. Come and chat with us. And if you will have any questions regarding the tool, during that time, I will answer any and all of the questions that you have, I promise. Yeah, and I think that's it. Hopefully this has been useful. It is an amazing tool and you should definitely explore it. Either if you're looking for a good tool for this kind of a job, or maybe you already have BigPicture because it has been purchased by your company, but it's not really used to the extent that you feel that it could be. And you're probably right, because we have plenty of customers that come to us and tell us that they have the tool, but they are not really using it and they are wasting the potential of it, which is very big. So this is something that we could help you with as well. That's all. Thank you so much for watching and listening, and I'll be seeing you in one of the next videos.